Welcome to Horror Makes Us Happy, the podcast where we ask the question, what is it about horror that makes us happy? Your hosts are Steve Becker and Chris Whitman, and you can find out more about us at horrormakesushappy.com. Today's guest is Jasmine Martinez. She is a fan and reviewer of movies, best known for her work with the Bitches of Horror YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want to plug before we get into the meat of the interview?
No, not really.
Just the YouTube channel?
Yeah, just the YouTube channel.
We'll put together a bio page for you, and we can include a link there on the bio page.
Okay.
Before we get started, a little information for you and the listeners. Some trigger warnings. We're going to be talking about horror movies, which could involve anything: murder, rape, suicide, child abuse, F-bombs, cursing. Chris and I do not censor ourselves, so if you are not prepared for that, please take care of yourself and then come back when you're ready. In this interview, we'll be asking 3 sets of questions covering childhood, teenage years, and adulthood to find out what it is that you like about horror. The idea being that if we interview enough people, we might find some common, interesting themes, but also some uncommon ones maybe, and that might be interesting too. We'll be coming at the same questions from multiple angles because sometimes that triggers memories that you've forgotten. But that said, it's not meant to be a therapy session, so if there are any questions you don't want to answer, just say you want to pass on that one and we'll move on.
That's fucking bullshit.
I mean, if you want to press, go for it, but she doesn't have to answer.
You know, I was just waiting for a pause so that I could curse since we got the trigger warning out of the way, but you're right. As far as like that's lining up with what you just said, that's not what we're all about. You can say pass if you want to. That's I just wanted to say
It's all right. I'm pretty open.
Good.
Chris is the asshole here, so
I am.
Actually, that's not completely true. I can be an asshole too. So, starting with childhood, what are some of the earliest memories you have of scary things?
Yeah, well, I'm actually born on Halloween.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Halloween
there
is
you
one
go.
of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
But also just films from my childhood, like The Craft, probably. It's not really a scary movie, but it has like witches in it, which really I was really attracted to that when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And something that scared the shit out of me was the lady in the bathtub in The Shining.
Yeah.
Haunted
that's
me
common
for
one.
many years.
It's just so jarring. I mean, Kubrick did a really good job with making that whole scene just unsettling and terrifying.
Yeah.
There's no real jump scare or anything, but there was a constant stinger in the background as far as the score goes. And it's a rotting human being in a bathtub. There's just something naturally disturbing about that.
But I had like a fear of opening if there was a shower curtain in front of the bathtub, I wouldn't like to go into the bathroom if the shower curtain was closed. So it had to be open, so I knew that there wasn't a woman rotting in my bathtub.
Yeah, that too. It's that unseen
I'm all right
horror
now,
that it's.
So the family had to learn to leave the shower curtain open during the days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Some parents leave a light on. Some parents leave the shower curtain open. You know.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
So, The Craft, The Shining, what else?
I think just Halloween in general, maybe because since I grew up in the States, like everyone had the decorations outside, and my stepdad's father was very into, decorating it as scary as possible, and just went all out. And I think that kind of, just stayed with me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, that addresses another one of the questions that we have, which is, did you participate in Halloween or any favorite or least favorite costumes? It sounds like that's definitely a yes on participated from the very beginning.
Right.
Yes. I think as a kid, my favorite costumes were either a witch or a Power Rangers, because Power Rangers was very popular when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
But I know I was a witch for more than once.
Did you dress up as one of the Power Rangers or one of the villains like Rita or the Putties?
As a Power Ranger, Rita would have been really cool. Like thinking now, I would have loved to have that, But as a kid, it was always the Ranger.
Okay. It was easier. You could just go buy that one.
Yeah.
Exactly. I didn't really have the skills to craft a Rita costume.
Well,
True, and there's a lot of details to it.
any least favorite costumes?
I don't know if I hated something in particular, but I don't have a lot of photos of me as in like princess things.
Hmm.
It's not that I didn't dislike, Disney movies and stuff, but I don't think I was ever into princess stuff to that extent where I would dress up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What was it you liked about the craft?
I've always been interested in I wouldn't like mythology and occultism and witches and in general. So witches in general I loved it. Like even non-scary things such as like Hocus Pocus and just games with witches in them and books and yeah, it was just the thought of magic, I guess, and the kind of like a side unknown.
Magic with a K.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think that really pulled me in.
You mentioned your stepfather. Did you say it was your stepfather's father who was big into decorations?
Yes.
Was it just Halloween or every holiday that he got into the
Just
decorations?
Halloween, I think.
Okay. So he had a thing for Halloween?
Maybe sometime like a little bit of Christmas, but it was more for Halloween.
Okay. Other than him, was there anybody else in your family or your friends group that was a fan of Halloween?
We always dressed up like a family, like not like theme wise, but everyone had costumes, so we were all into dressing up and stuff. So everyone loved it, friends as well. But I think maybe I was more into the scary part than what my family was.
Right. They were more into like dressing up like jack-o'-lanterns or goofy skeletons, and you're over here
Yeah.
like, I'm a severed head.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So they were more into it for the fun, and you were more into it for the I don't want to say horror, but creepy stuff or
The macabre.
Yeah, I think it in the beginning it was probably more for fun, and the fact that you get candy was a big
Of
part of it,
course.
I guess, in the beginning. But it was also my birthday, so I don't know, it kind of made it like extra special maybe.
Right.
And then as I got older, it was more like, oh, now I can actually, and I was a bit alternative in my teens, where Halloween was the day you could kind of be yourself without, you could be dark and scary, and no one would give a shit.
Right, you wouldn't get weird looks or anything.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, because my birthday is right around Thanksgiving, so that one's always been my favorite holiday. Because when you're a kid, I mean, everybody starts to get together. Well, at least for Thanksgiving, because it's often that families will get together for Thanksgiving. So even if they didn't come and bring presents, it was just nice to have family getting together and saying happy birthday and things like that. So, if your family got together to all dress up, then they're probably all saying happy birthday and stuff like that, which is fun.
Yeah.
So where did you see the line starting to be drawn where you started switching from Halloween just being fun into being interested in the alternative stuff?
Oh, that was a lot later. I don't know, because, well, not actually. Well, I know in school, in elementary school, they used to think I was a vampire.
In elementary school?
For some reason. I was born on Halloween, and yeah. And I would, I have very sharp teeth. Like my vampire teeth are pretty sharp. And I would, for lunch, I would have like a salad, but the salad dressing, I can't remember what salad dressing it was, but it was red and it looked like blood. It wasn't ketchup. It was, but it was some sort of like red dressing. And they kind of like, made fun of me a little bit and tried, calling me like a vampire and stuff like that. And then I think in like 4th grade, I started listening to the new metal, and I kind of got into that scene. And yeah.
In 4th grade. Nice.
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
And then that kind of was put on pause until I moved to Sweden. And then I went through
then you started listening to a different
popular
kind of metal
phase because I was that cool girl. I was a cool girl from the United States, and then things switched around, and I started getting bullied, and then I turned to the alternative side again, and I stayed there after that.
Oh, the days when being from the United States was a cool thing.
Yeah, now I kind of try and hide it a lot sometimes.
Right. Like my friend and I went to Japan a while ago, and we were just saying, we're just going to say we're Canadian. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I used to live in Japan, and I would say I was Swedish. I would never say I'm American.
Yep.
Well, I would. If someone asked me where I was from, I would say I'm half Swedish, half American. But if someone just asked, like, "Oh, where are you from?" I would say Sweden.
Yeah, it's safe. That works.
Typically, yeah. There's not a lot of people out there who hate Swedes.
No, we're pretty neutral.
So let's see. I'm guessing, the kids teasing you about being a vampire. I mean, that's normal stuff that, kids are always looking for something to tease somebody about. But there wasn't anybody who specifically teased you about being into horror, or was there?
No, it was more about, being alternative and, dressing in black and having the eyeliner and stuff like that people would be like, "Oh, it's not Halloween." Like try to say something stupid about it. But, it was more about the way I looked than what I liked.
Okay.
But, I do get comments like, "Oh, why do you like, gore and stuff like that?" And it's just like, I don't know. Whatever I say, I just sound like a psycho. So it's like very
right?
hard.
Whatever answer I give you is just going to make it sound worse. I like it because it's entertaining. Yeah. I like it because I like the patterns and the blood splatters. This is not making it better.
That's one of the difficult things about this podcast is, and also one of the reasons that we go through the questions in these multiple phases, because a lot of people who are really into horror and like these kinds of things, because mainstream society kind of frowns on it, I think most people who are into this stuff start to learn to answer the questions in the socially acceptable way. And sometimes you kind of have to dig to find out what it is that they really do like about it, because the first answers that people tend to give are the ones that, I don't know, I think that, are not going to get them in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the PC answers, if you will.
So that's another reason to kind of go through it a little bit, so you can get to feel comfortable talking about the stuff, and then maybe, share a little bit.
It's funny, slight side tangent. I know I'm notorious for these, but it'll be quick. One of the other reasons why we also do this is, again, to trigger certain memories that you didn't think of before. And I just realized you're talking about being teased for just being alternative and different and having dark hair or dark clothes when you're in high school. My sister, an older sister, when she was in high school, she went through a goth phase, and I think I was just a stupid, annoying little brother, and I somehow got it in my head that she worships Satan because she wears dark clothing and has dark hair, and I spread that rumor because I was a shitty little brother. But this was in the middle of the 90s, in this satanic panic era, and I just fucking propagated that, and I'm going to call her right after this call and apologize, because holy shit, I did that.
Good job, Chris. Good job.
Well,
it's hard. Like, I mean, I was a 10. The evil started at an early age.
You were gonna say something?
Because I did go into like a Wiccan phase when I was a younger teen. But my mom, being, because we lived in the States, and she was Christian, and she kind of turned non-Christian when she moved to Sweden. I don't know what happened, but America makes you kind of... Yeah, we went to church anyways. So when we moved to Sweden, I kind of I went to Wicca for a little bit, and she actually thought that I worshipped Satan, and I had to like explain to her, like, no, like this isn't the same thing, it's very different. But that was like the biggest fear, was like, oh, but Satan and goats and sacrificing. It's like, yeah, okay, but
it's not the same, Mom.
So I get that it's easy to connect things with that. But I wouldn't spread a rumor.
Well, it's a sibling thing. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I do, but I'm the oldest, so I would kick the shit out of them if they did something like that.
Yeah, you were on that side of the fence. Yeah. It's a younger sibling thing then.
The other part of that too is for you to kick their asses, you have to have found out about it.
True. You don't get in trouble if you don't
Yeah.
get caught.
So, so there was some changed behavior here. You mentioned being scared by the lady in the bathtub, so you pulled the curtain aside, I guess, for the shower. Was there anything else that anything else related to horror that made you change your behavior or trigger any fears, phobias, that kind of thing?
Yeah. While I was still in the States, my friend was going to watch The Exorcist. I think I was about 8 or 9 at the time. And I begged my mom to let me watch it. And she was like, no, 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 no. And I begged her and begged her and begged her until finally she said yes. And she said, fine, but don't come crawling into my bed if you get scared. So I was like,
she did
I'm
warn
not
you.
going to be scared. Like,
No.
I went and watched it, came in the middle of the day, came home, I was like, that was nothing. It's nothing. And then night came, and I would not go into my room. Like, I held the door, and I was like, Satan's coming to get me! I'm gonna die! And finally, she let me sleep on the floor in her room. So, The Exorcist did scar me. Reagan's face is still like, when you close your eyes sometimes, her face just pops up and makes it a little bit harder to sleep. But yeah, Reagan's face has stayed with me for a long time, but it's still, even considering that it's like, it terrified me to an extent where, it's probably not good for you. It's still one of my favorite films ever made.
Oh yeah.
How did it cause you to change your behavior or trigger any phobia?
Wouldn't say phobia as much as it was just her face that would that would just haunt me for years to come.
Okay.
And stairs, like, the stairs outside of, where the priest jumped out the window. If there were stairs that were like, just a very tall staircase outside, that would scare me a little bit. For some reason. I don't know why that. Yeah, it creeped me out.
Okay.
But yeah, phobia, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. Was there ever a time when you were actually terrified of something as a child, like in real life?
I was always okay. Yeah, funny story. I was terrified of robbers for some reason. So I would always, when I went to sleep as a kid, I would lay straight under my my covers, and I would pull my covers up to my, like, right under my chin, so that if robbers came, they would think my head was cut off, so they wouldn't kill me. That was my theory. If I had my whole body under my covers and laid still and just had, like, my head showing, they would think that my head was cut off, and they wouldn't kill me if they came to rob us. For some reason, that was something that...
That sounds like something a child might think of.
Robbers, I don't know, it's very strange.
No, it makes perfect sense to me. And yeah, it is funny how you think of stuff like that when you're a child. Like, you think of the very detailed and intricate ways of thwarting whatever the bad guy is. Like, oh, well, I'll just hang a kitchen knife over my door with some Home Alone style string on top of it, and that'll keep the gremlins from getting in my room. Stuff like that.
Well, it's what scared me, so it should scare them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, it's mostly like people looking into my window. People in general, I think.
What is it about people in general that scared you?
Because they were even though I've always been a little bit afraid of, like, this supernatural sort of thing, because that's, like, unknown, people would still be the people, that was actually, like, proved that they would kill or rob or do stuff or do bad stuff, just terrible people.
Okay.
They, like, actually existed, and it was proven, like, existed. So I think that scared me more. It never happened, so, but I don't know, just
no experiences of knowing somebody who got robbed or seeing it on the news. Maybe just seeing it on the news or something like that.
That can be enough.
Maybe seeing it on the news. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. It was just maybe, yeah. Maybe. I have no idea, actually, but I think it was a family thing, too, that I didn't want anyone to hurt my family. And the only people who would do that would be other people or random people who came in and wanted something.
Right. Did you have any scary dreams when you were a kid, or any reoccurring nightmares?
Yeah, I had a few night terrors as a child, and I had one of the reoccurring ones was me in a castle, like Castle of Illusions castle, like, just stairs, and a tiger that would chase me.
Huh.
That was the reoccurring nightmare. I can't remember more than that. I just remember there's a tiger chasing me, and I remember having it a lot.
Huh.
And I had a period a few years ago where I had a lot of sleep paralysis.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had that. That's not fun.
Nah, but that's gone over now. I think it was very stress related, but I don't get night terrors anymore. That was more as a child, but after I did get sleep paralysis for a while. But yeah, I have very vivid dreams in general.
When was the sleep paralysis? When your teens, 20s?
No, 20s, 25.
Okay.
20.
So adult years. Yeah. So in general, your childhood horror did make you happy. At least Halloween did. And if we were to say if there was anything in particular that made you feel that way, probably just the fact that it was near your birthday and the family gathering. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say family gathering. I like the weirdness of it. I think I was very into mythology as a kid, and ghosts and creatures and stuff like that. I think that kind of made me happy that it could be a day where you could like sort of celebrate it. And like mild horror stuff like Gremlins and Nightmare Before Christmas, and like weird, I wouldn't say weird, but sort of alternative to what films usually are.
Yeah.
Things that were kind
spooky
of cute,
versus
but
horrific.
horror-y. Yeah, exactly. That made me happy, and that there was a day where you could kind of celebrate that. And it was my birthday as well, so it was like win-win.
That helps.
All right, so going into the teenage years, what were some of the things that you remember horror related, whether it's books or movies or what have you?
Yeah, Scream was one of the big ones. The Ring, and the Guinea Pig series, if that says anything.
Oh yeah,
maybe.
Wow, so you kind of made a jump there from Scream to Guinea Pig.
Yeah, Scream was Scream and the Ring were probably during I think when my teens was when I really got into sort of the horror for real, and yeah, so it kind of escalated.
You gonna say, how did it get from one to the other? That's a bit of a jump.
Well, because Scream and the Ring I saw when I was sort of still in my, let's say, popular time period. And then when I got into more to the alternative and I stayed there, that's when I got into the metal scene. And the metal scene was kind of connected to the gore scene.
Right.
So I had friends that were like, oh, you got to check this movie out. And they showed me Flowers of Flesh and Blood. And I guess that kind of stayed with me. Yeah, I got interested to check more out. I guess.
Anything else that really impressed on you in your teenage years?
A lot of horror games did.
Oh, yeah? Horror games?
Yeah.
Like what?
Resident Evil, Silent Hill, things like that.
What was that other one with about photography? Was it Aperture or
Fatal Frame?
Fatal Frame, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was it you liked about?
Yeah, they were really good games, yeah.
What was it you liked about those?
I guess the adrenaline. Yeah, I think it's mostly about the adrenaline when it comes to games. And also, a lot of them are pretty story-driven. Maybe not Resident Evil per se, but like Silent Hill and Fatal Frame, there's a lot of story and character development. It's easy to bring out a lot of human emotions in horror in general, and I think that's what kind of draws me to it a lot.
Yeah, probably even more than movies, because games can have a lot more content.
I mean that, and also with games, you're much more involved in it too. It's more interactive. You're not just sitting on a couch watching a movie that scares you occasionally or horrifies you or disturbs you. In the game, you're performing actions, and say you're in the middle of opening a door and this thing jumps on you to kill you. It's more interactive.
You identify more with it.
You have to run away. You have to like do that. You have to shoot it. You have to,
You have to block the thing with corpses that are hanging from the ceiling and bound up in blankets for some reason. That was the latest Resident Evil, number 7, I think, the weird Texas Chainsaw style one.
Yeah.
So, what was it that you liked about the alternative horror now? After you made the jump from things like Scream and The Ring over to Flowers of Flesh and Blood and Guinea Pig and that stuff?
I think the morbid curiosity. I think in my teens in general, there was a lot of transitions, as there always is. But it wasn't.
Mhm.
I was 4chan was a big thing in my teens. So that introduced me to a whole new world.
I'm sure.
Being a gamer and being on the internet in general made me find a lot of stuff. Maybe sometimes that I didn't wish to find, but I always had a curiosity of what could
right. Rotten.com
could disturb me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just it would be like a search for things that could disgust me. Sounds pretty grim, but
Yeah.
just the fascination of the when it comes to gore. Anyways, it's like I know sometimes gore isn't realistic, but I like things that make me feel things. So if I feel disgust, that's a feeling, and I think that's what draws me to horror in general. Sometimes it makes me feel scared. It makes me feel sick to my stomach, or it makes me, if it's horror comedy, it makes me laugh, or if it's something, very mentally disturbing, then it makes me feel like shit. And that's my favorite. I love films that make me feel like shit because it's such a strong emotion. It makes me feel so much, and I think that's what kind of drew me to find things that could make me feel things. Not that I didn't feel things in general, because I did, but it was just, a distraction from life, I guess.
Or maybe like a slippery slope almost. Like you start watching one thing, and not to get all back in my day or anything, but like with the advent of the internet nowadays, it's almost like it comes with the territory. Like you have this vast interface where you can look up anything, and if you just happen to stumble upon one thing where, I don't know, a friend is talking about a metal band that had a really cool album cover, and you're like, oh, where did that cover come from?
Yeah.
Oh, it's this horrific accident.
Yeah,
oh, these people were killed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then it rabbit holes like that.
Yeah. I was never really into like actual deaths and stuff like that, like snuff or I know Rotten had like pictures and stuff like that, but I would, I've seen pictures and stuff like that, but I would never go to search for pictures of real bodies or real deaths.
So what were you searching for?
That that is for me is very disturbing. I'd like the fantasy of it. Can I say it like that? It's not like it's the fact that it's not real makes it better in a sense for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's safe.
Yeah.
When you said you were seeking stuff that evoked strong emotions, any idea why you were seeking out strong emotions?
Probably because I have a lot of strong emotions. Being half Latina, and the passion is real.
Fire.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I just like things. It doesn't have to be like horror per se. I just like the people or items that spark a strong emotion within me. So if someone's really funny, or if someone's just.
It's funny that you say that, because I'm thinking back to what we said earlier, and I think this might have even been before the call started, but Chris had commented that I guess there's that joke between you and Sarah about you being the more negative one on the movie reviews. And I'm wondering if this kind of ties into that. Like if you feel like you might be more of a sort of a depressed person in terms of your emotions, it would then make sense that you might want to seek out things that bring you emotion.
Yeah, that's not true.
No?
I mean, I'm not depressed, is what I'm
I don't mean depressed in the sense
saying.
of...
No.
I don't mean depressed in the sense of like being depressed like most people think of it. I think more in the sense of just general negativity, if that makes sense. Or do you not feel that you're generally negative either?
Yes and no. I'm negative about myself, like, but I always, if someone comes to me with something, I always try to be positive and like, always try and help and like, oh, think about it this way and stuff like that. But if it's like about myself, I'm like, yeah, fuck it, everything's terrible. Something.
Yeah.
I'm very negative about that. But in general, I wouldn't say I'm a little bit negative, maybe, but not too much. I don't know.
You are
It's very.
always your
It's.
own
I
worst
just.
critic.
Yeah. But I just. It's not. It's not to seek stronger feelings. It's just that I enjoy things that. Because I watch a lot of shit film that doesn't make me feel anything at all.
Chris can relate.
But I watch them. I watch them. I watch all of it. I don't turn them off. Like, I'll watch it. If someone sends us a film and it's absolute shit, I will watch the full film in hope that, maybe the ending will be good, but, 98% of the time, no. So it's not like, if it doesn't make me feel anything, I'll shut it off. Like, it's just, it's my criteria for liking the film, I guess.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I just saw something that I thought might have made sense, so I thought I would throw it out there and see if it connected with you, and if it doesn't,
maybe it started like that, like, and then when I got older, I got over my darkness, or whatever, the depression, but that kind of stick with me still. That's what makes me like things.
Could be. So in your teenage years, I mean, I know you've got your friend Sarah now in your adult years. I don't know when you met her, but did you have like a group of friends in your teenage years that were into horror?
Not really. I think maybe I had one of my first boyfriends. Maybe he was a little bit into horror film, but not to the extent that I was.
Okay.
And I think when we got into like groups of people with the metalheads, we would. Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Is disgusting. Try to kind of gross each other out, and then maybe, but I wouldn't call them like close friends. But yeah, in my friends in general, I don't think that they've liked horror as much as me. It's not been like a central theme.
Did you continue participating in Halloween? I would guess not, because I don't think Sweden celebrates it, do they? Or would it be All Hallows
no,
Eve
Sweden
or
does
something?
not. I mean, yeah, we do have All Hallows Eve, but we celebrate Halloween as like a sort of party thing here, and it's gotten a little bit bigger over the years. But we don't go like trick or treating or stuff like that.
It's like Americans celebrating Cinco de Mayo or St. Patty's Day.
Yeah,
it's just a reason to have fun.
And drink.
But since it is my birthday.
That's true.
Since it is my birthday, I always had a masquerade party. So we always had like costume parties. And nowadays, I still demand people to come in costume to my birthday. If they don't have a costume, I'll have one here ready for them.
I mean, how hard is it? Just put on a t-shirt that says cheap-ass Halloween costume. There you go.
Yeah. Put on just cat ears, it doesn't have to be all out. Just something. Yeah. So I'm very serious when it comes to dressing up for Halloween.
Understandably so. It's a tradition. It's what you do.
Yeah.
Any specifically, memorable memories relating to Halloween for your birthday in these, teenage years?
Teenage years. Yeah, probably my 18th birthday. I had a lot of people come and everyone was dressed up and stuff, and that was pretty fun.
Cool.
But,
do you remember what you dressed up as on your 18th birthday? Out of curiosity?
Yeah, like a bat demon.
Okay.
Cool. like more like Man Bat, or more like Morgana from
more like
Darkstalkers?
Lilith. Yeah, more like Morgana, but not as sexy.
More realistic.
Yeah, less cleavage.
Thank you for saving that. I knew that was going to be a loaded question. Like, why'd you bring up this sexy anime chick from the video game, you fucking weeb?
It's a good thing I knew who she was. Otherwise, it would have been a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah, right.
Crickets. Never mind.
Moving on.
Was there
She's
ever
hot, though.
was there ever a time when you were actually terrified of something as a teen?
As a younger teen, Scream kind of scared me. Like, I had a hard time, like, just going out and walking around because I was afraid that someone was going to kill me, you know? Sort of like paranoia.
Yeah. No, I get it, because that
and the
movie
Ring,
brought things close to home.
Yeah, and The Ring
Sure.
kind of fucked me up as well because I went to see it in the movie theater and I had a TV, I had a small CRT TV on my wall, like, facing me. And I woke up with the static on the TV. And I was, or what do you call it? Yeah. And I was sure, okay, I'm gonna die. And I had a hard time, if a TV was off, or the static in general would scare me a little bit. And if the TV was off, I would almost think, looking at the TV, you would see a reflection of something, behind you, next to you or something. And you'd be like, oh, I don't know. It's just like, The Ring kind of, and then my friends, played the prank where they called me and said like 7 days.
Oh, no.
So,
of course they did.
That stuck with me a little bit. But that was also in my younger teens. As I got older, less things scared me.
I mean, that does leave something to be said about horror movies like that, like The Ring and what was the other one?
Scream,
yeah, about killers in general. It just brings it that closer to home with the fact that it could be something in real life. So I mean, like you said, you outgrow that simple fear when you're older, but when you're an adolescent or a child, you see things like that, and it's that much more terrifying because it could really happen in real life. It's not like a werewolf or the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's just a really mean person with a knife. And those exist.
Yeah.
So was there anything that actually terrified you in real life as a teen? No near death experiences?
Or possible witnesses of ghosts or paranormal?
Oh, well, now that brings back childhood memories, actually, when you say that. Because I did have a bit of a ghost experience. It wasn't probably a ghost at all, but it was like, I was in the school I went to, and I was in the bathroom, and the lights flickered. And when I went into the bathroom, there was a doll outside the bathroom. And when I left, the doll was gone. And that scared the shit out of me. I was like, the doll is possessed. Yeah.
Not that someone came and got it.
No one got it. Definitely not. It was definitely possessed, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think anything really terrified me that much as being beat up, maybe, but it's always people, never specific things. I was a pretty good teenager. Like, I didn't do bad things, so I was kind of safe most of the time.
It's okay. Your parents probably won't hear this.
I mean, later on, I did, a few things, but I was, but since I was a gamer, I stayed at home, I watched anime, I played video games. I didn't have time to go out and do drugs or drink because I, had a game to complete or a series to watch. So even though my mom was always like, stop playing, I think she kind of, in her later years, I think that she really appreciated that.
They're like, please get out of the house, go do drugs, please do something.
yeah, please just be a normal kid.
You haven't had a single injury this whole week, no scraped knees or anything. Go out there and, I don't know, jump in a lake.
Did you have any scary dreams as a teenager or reoccurring nightmares as a teenager?
I don't think reoccurring nightmares, but I did have nightmares. I've always had sort of like paranoia nightmares where someone's always chasing me, someone's always trying to kill me. And I've always had vivid dreams, so I have written down a few I should write them all down because it's pretty funny sometimes. And also terrifying sometimes. But yeah, no, I can't recall any reoccurring ones, just in general.
Okay. So in your teenage years is where it starts going from horror being fun to being more thrilling. Anything in particular that made it thrilling?
Gore. I guess I turned more into the morbid side of it.
I was
And sorry, what?
I was just gonna say I was gonna say the blood, but I was gonna wait for you to answer. So
the
good
blood, I
answer.
guess, intestines. Yeah, but also I think because I was into anime a lot, Japanese cinema kind of opened up for me. Suicide Club and The Ring and Guinea Pig, and it's just all these gems. And the occult really interested me. I thought that was I thought it was just interesting in general, like unknown sort of magic and Satan and cults and beasts and demons, and just weird, interesting. I think you can make a lot of things interesting with just having that type of theme.
Or that kind of restricted access, like the thing that is just lesser known because it's shunned or forbidden. It's just you don't know as much about it, so it's by nature more interesting.
Yeah.
So what about your adult years now? What are some of the things that really jumped out at you as being, really well done or impactful in terms of horror?
Grotesque is one of my favorite films, which is Japanese and gory. I don't know what about it that makes me love it so much, but I've seriously seen it about 25 times.
Nice.
But it's also been like a drinking game film. Drinking games came in my adult years to film, and that changed changed a lot. I do love a drinking game with the film. Yeah, and I do love this sort of slow burners that have come to be popular nowadays, and sort of political.
Any good ones jump off the tip of your tongue?
I always take the most commercial ones because I can't think of anything else. I did like Get Out a lot. I really enjoyed Get Out.
That's a good one.
I thought it balanced the horror and the comedy very well, and I don't think a lot of films can do that. And also, I really enjoyed Trauma, a Latin American film. Very disturbing. Yeah, disgusting. Hidden in the Woods. Spanish cinema, like Latin American cinema in general is they do a lot of good stuff. And things like Ari Aster and The Lighthouse, and things that aren't not 100% horror, but have like the inspiration from horror, but also tell a good story. Headless, Cat-Sick Blues, weird films. I love all sorts of strange.
I keep hearing everyone mention The Lighthouse, and I mean, I looked at it like an art house drama.
Yeah.
Is it somewhat of a horror? Are there just, I don't know, uncomfortable, tense moments between this guy and the other guy in the lighthouse? Is that what's dark about it?
I mean, it's I would say it's a lot of uncomfortable moments and unknown moments, and a little bit H.P. Lovecraft sort of.
Okay.
Have you seen what's the other one called? Cold Skin.
Cold Skin. No.
Okay, it's another like sort of like lighthouse film, but more creature centered. Well, this one's more like two men going sort of insane in a lighthouse. I would say it's more like an isolation horror, maybe, just like what that does to a person's mentality. But yeah, I think that's what kind of draws me to it as well. The sort of drama mixed with a little horror theme goes a long ways, I think. Like Mother, for example, that movie, I freaking loved it. I just can't understand why people don't like it, because it made you feel so uncomfortable the whole film. It made me want to, just scream out loud. And
are you talking about the
type
one with
of thing
the
that I like. No.
The
Jennifer Lawrence,
Darren Aronofsky, Jennifer Lawrence, something Bardin. I can never remember the guy's name.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah. Thank you. It's an allegory, really, about the earth and God and Jesus Christ. And once you read that part of it, and you understand that, it makes the film better. But there are some really jarring parts that certain people watched, and they're just like, no, mouth, nope. That's a baby. Nope, I'm done. Or like the house that Jack built.
I thought
Another
that
one
was shit. I thought it was so bad.
Really? Well,
there was.
have you seen the director's cut?
I can't remember which cut I saw, but there is a few scenes. Like I love the scene where he's in the house and he's cleaning up.
Mhm.
Like that scene is fantastic. It's so good, but it just felt like it felt like he was like it was Trier, right? Yeah, Trier was just like, I'm gonna jerk off and this is what comes out, like kind of like, it was a movie for himself.
Yeah. It does kind of have that feel to it,
Yeah.
like that pretentious vibe of,
Yeah.
I'm Lars von Trier, I'm going to talk about some things, and oh, you know what? Let's wrap a plot around it and get a lot of
Yeah.
big name actors. There we go.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to talk about things, and you're going to listen because I'm Lars fucking von
Yeah.
Trier.
But yeah, Lynch is also one of my favorite. Has become, I discovered him way too late. But Twin Peaks, Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway, that are kind of horror influenced,
Mhm.
are like that. It's my life. Twin Peaks is
Oh,
my
yeah.
life. So I like this sort of kind of mystery horror stuff as well.
Okay.
Anything in particular you like about the things that we just mentioned? So you mentioned Grotesque, Get Out, Trauma, Lighthouse.
Nothing
Mother.
in common.
Nothing in common.
Well, I guess the fact that they make me feel a lot.
Mhm.
Trauma, for example, just made me feel disgusted and just really bad.
Mhm.
Just rape and just defiling people in like the worst way possible, like that. Made me feel really bad, and that's why I like it so much. And then there's Mother, who just made me feel very uncomfortable the whole film.
Mhm.
Get Out, I like the political commentary.
Yeah.
And the fact that I didn't think he did it as well in Us. I thought Us, the comedy ruined the tense bits. But I think that he balanced it very well in Get Out.
I didn't like Us.
No, I wasn't impressed, to be honest.
I mean, there was a number of different things I didn't like about it, but the thing that killed me the absolute worst was what he did at the very ending, which completely wiped away the entire movie because
Yeah.
if that was the girl, then she would have fucking known everything. Like,
Yeah.
Like I guess her memory somehow faded, so she became someone else. But yeah, I didn't like that twist at the end either.
yeah, I just
Honestly, for me, the best thing about Us was Lupita Nyong'o's performance. Like that was just.
Yeah.
I think that the
woman can act.
dance scene towards the end there, where they're down low and they're fighting, and there's a dance going on at the same time. That scene is really good.
That was really well done too.
And the music was great. I think.
Yeah.
They did some good music.
There's some good music. I'm not saying
But
that
yeah,
the
I agree. It
actors
wasn't at
were
all
bad. The actors and actresses did a great job. I just didn't like the
plot twist near the end.
There were a number of plot holes. But
Yeah.
It was almost Shyamalan, shall we say?
Yeah.
but not
now that you say it, yeah.
not a good.
No. More like not like a Sixth Sense twist, more like a Village twist. Yeah, it's one of those.
But I liked The Visit. He kind of came back with The Visit.
I haven't
really.
seen
I thought so.
Poopy diapers. Come on.
I thought it was all right.
She's had a kid. You haven't.
True. No, The Visit was all right. It was a good premise. You know what it is? Is that fucking kids rapping.
Oh, yeah, that was shit. Yeah. That was shit. I will say, though, having kids does change your... change a lot in how you perceive some horror films.
Mhm.
Especially that has to do with kids.
Mhm.
Before I was like, that's bullshit. Whatever with kids. You wouldn't really care. It would be the same. But becoming a mother, it kind of... It's like, you feel it a little bit more. Just seeing a child crying in a film, like, I am automatically think, why is no one picking up this child? Like, the actor,
Right.
just things like that. The actual child, and just things like that bother me a lot more now bother me now that didn't bother me before.
You have a different perspective on things.
So you mentioned some of the things that disgusted you. What excited you about these different things that we've just listed?
Being disgusted excites me.
She was talking about the good things, Steve.
Right?
I delve a bit into the underground scene. Like I do love a gore torture film. Why, I do not know. Maybe it's the it's kind of like, you go to work, you take a lot of shit, you do all these things, and people are crap, and you have a bad day, you come home and you see someone get tortured on film, and you're like, this is a
better.
good tension release.
Crack open a beer and disembowel someone.
Yeah. I mean, it beats going out and disemboweling someone.
Well,
I would never do
exactly.
that, but
Outlet,
for most
it's
people,
safe
yeah.
for most people. Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm to that extent, but I don't know why it just draws me in as much as it does. I think it's just the macabre and the sort of disgustingness of it. That sort of taboo, maybe, and that the taboo thing sort of draws me in. I like the forbidden.
Okay.
Or it's also like the just the car crash effect. You have to look at this thing that's that disturbing. Just wow.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah, and I also think because I had the sort of 4chan moment, or the period of my life, and I've seen a lot of like disgusting things. I'm not as disgusted by things as I was before. I'm
Desensitized.
Desensitized a lot. So I try to find things that sort of
evoke the emotions.
just makes me disgusted. But I only do it through fake things. Maybe some documentaries now and again. I do love a good documentary, but
yes.
But I would never, go as far as looking up real stuff.
Right.
But I try and find the underground gore scene. Like they're sometimes they have things that will produce something, but I always prefer a sort of gore film with an actual story. So
it helps.
It has a little bit of it makes it more entertaining, and it helps you feel more, I guess, for the characters. If it's just like people torturing each other, it's like, okay, yeah, great, next. I've seen this before. Why do I care?
Oh, now she's in a bag.
Yeah.
Just punch her some more. Okay, there you go.
Could you imagine?
I don't know. One that keeps coming to mind in this whole thing is Martyrs, the original one. That's kind of got both aspects. It's got just severe and almost seemingly unending torture.
Yeah.
Which just disturbs you to your fucking core, no matter how much of a gorehound you have. You just can't watch this girl get punched in the face, chained to a chair for like 5 minutes straight without feeling a little sick.
Yeah.
But it also has a very involved plot too, which I think that's a great one in my opinion, because
it is a great film. Unfortunately, I saw the remake before I saw the original.
Oh no!
And that was shit.
I mean, maybe that's a good thing because you saw the worst one, so you weren't disappointed when you saw the next one.
No.
It was a pleasant surprise. I got like 10 minutes into the remake and I was like, no.
It was so bad, but I was just like, why do people like this film? Is the original really that much better than this piece of shit? And then I saw the original and I was like, yeah, it's a lot better. Yeah.
So other than Sarah, do you have a, as Chris likes to put it, a horror crew now that you're an adult? Do you have like-minded friends and family?
Who you run with?
Yeah, well, I'm a part of a horror festival in Sweden.
Ooh.
Monsters of Film, it's called.
Okay.
Nice.
So it's the biggest and longest running here. So I delve in that, and I also work for a film distribution company that distributes a lot of art house and horror and stuff like that. So I work with people who like that type of film. Me and Sarah started a sort of horror like movie group where we would do like meetups and watch. Everyone would pick 3 films, and we'd just randomly choose 3, and we would watch those 3 films and have a good time, like
Nice.
Just a movie night. So yeah, I do have a little horror crew, or we have a little horror crew.
The film distribution company, is that your day job?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow. do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah, it's true, man. I mean, I don't get. It's not.
I don't know.
It's
She
not
just said
good
something
pay.
about going to work and then wanting to come home and disembowel people. So
Oh, this was before that job.
Okay.
I haven't. Yeah, I've only worked there for about 9.
She's like, I haven't
almost
wanted to
a
kill
year.
anybody since I got this job.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah. So, but it is true because I don't. It's not like good pay, but because the company, because it's so much fun, and it's a small company, so it's
The
I
fringe
do a variety
benefits,
of
like
things.
not wanting to kill your coworkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you get to watch, a lot of good movies. And
do you guys actually watch movies together?
Not at work. I mean, if we go to festivals and stuff to look for films to distribute, then yeah. Sometimes one of my colleagues, the girl who I also who I do Monsters of Film with, because she's also a part of it. She sometimes we'd have like lunch dates and we went to see, just any movie.
Cool.
A horror film usually.
That's a long lunch.
So yeah, well, we have to work it on other days. Take a short lunch another day, but it's totally worth it. It's nice sometimes.
Okay, so you've got Monsters of Film Festival. You've got the film distribution company. You got the movie group. So obviously you have a lot of positive social interaction now, which is a plus. But we already know, based on that conversation that we've already had, that that's not the driving factor for you. It's just a nice bonus. Have you well, we already answered this one too. I was going to ask if you continued participating in Halloween, but you said primarily because it's your birthday, for your birthday parties.
Yeah.
So has there been a time of anything that you were actually terrified as an adult?
I would say as well there. After becoming a mother, I've grown very scared of death in general. I wasn't, I didn't think about it as much before, but now I'm very, very scared of dying. I think it's more of a biological thing, but, just who's going to take care of my kid, if I die, sort of thing. Yeah, I think that's probably it. Maybe some films have scared me for a week, but not more than that.
Which ones would you say scared you for the week?
Maybe not that many, but it follows. I think stayed with me for a little bit. I think when I went home after seeing it at the theater, I walked alone, and there was no one out. And I thought, if someone comes out, walks behind me, I will run. I will run for my life, because it was just that I am a little bit paranoid. So if someone's keeps going after me, sort of behind me, I think, oh, this person is following me. It might be following me until that person turns. So that,
or you get that feeling that you can feel someone following behind you. Just that.
So that film kind of escalated my paranoia to a max, where I thought, if someone walks from that corner now, I will jet. Yeah.
Have you had any really scary dreams as an adult?
Yeah. Well, my sleep paralysis was as an adult, and that really fucked with me for a good year or two, where I would, I don't know if you guys had sleep paralysis, but
I have. Yeah,
it's just that feeling of not being able to move and being totally paralyzed, and you seeing an entity I didn't have the hag that some people have. I had just a shadow person who would just stand and look at me, but didn't have any eyeballs. I just feel it looking at me, and I couldn't move. And it came to an extent where when I had it as worse as I had it, where I had it every night, more than once a night, he or she would lie down and spoon me.
Nice.
In the worst possible way. It was just is it going to kill me? Is it what is happening? Because he would always either stand in the doorway and just look at me, which is totally terrifying. That sort of, paranormal activity, someone's just standing looking at you. But I've also had one when I lived together with my friends when we first moved to Tokyo, where I was sleeping on the couch, and I had my sleep paralysis, and I dreamt that my friend came home, and she was standing in the doorway as the entity would, and she had her whole eyes were black, and she was just standing there staring at me, and wouldn't say anything. And I was just like, what is going on? That sort of helplessness feeling.
Mm-hmm.
That is sometimes even more terrifying than any jump scare.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
when you have a figure, an unknown figure, that's standing there staring at you, completely silent, not saying anything. Like, it's not the full view of the figure, but I've
Yeah, just
watched
like
it a million times. And it still creeps me out. We Are Still Here, the movie about the family that moves into the house and it's haunted by a previous family.
Yeah.
There's a scene where the husband wakes up in the middle of the night and there's a light on in the hallway, and he can just see 2 feet, the shadows of 2 feet standing in front of the doorway, and he just says hello. It doesn't say anything back. I'm just on the edge of my seat the whole time, like, ah.
Yeah. It's just a sort of, I would rather it like stab me almost. I mean, just for, then you would know, like,
Right, just do something.
yeah. But I tried reading books on it, and it was like, oh, I read this one book where it was like, because it was so bad for a while that I just wanted to get rid of it, and it was just like, oh, go. It's like your guide, like, go with it. I'm like, I ain't going anywhere with that thing. Like, no fucking way. Like, I will not even, no.
I'm sorry, a guide has a certain air and appearance about them. They have a hand out reaching, you can see their face, it's smiling. This thing is just standing there staring at me like it wants to eat me.
The worst part is, like, because you'd be lying there, and because the fact of sleep paralysis is that you're sort of awake, but your body is still like in sleep.
Right.
And I would try and scream, like, because my partner is like next to me, and I would try to scream his name to just to get him to wake me up, but you could never say anything. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't like move or say anything, and that's the whole thing, that your voice is gone as well. So you can't do anything, and that total loss of control. I think that, I mean, I guess that's the whole thing with sleep paralysis, isn't it? If it's stress related, that you're not in control, maybe, I don't know, but it's
yeah, that's what I've heard, is that's the core reason behind it or something.
I think for me, because I had it when I was in my 20s too, and I didn't see anything, but I couldn't move. And at least for me, I think it was related to the position I was laying in. I think either I was cutting off airflow or something like that, or blood flow or something. And maybe my body was saying, okay, you need to wake up and move. And so from what I've read about sleep paralysis, my understanding of it is it's normally there's a process that your brain and your body take in order to restore consciousness or control to the brain. And there are some steps that need to be taken. And if they either come out of order or one takes longer than the other, then your mind wakes up before your body is ready to hand over, so to speak. But yeah, in my case, it always happened when I was sleeping sort of on my side, sort of on my stomach. I would sort of like sleep on my stomach, but then bring one leg up and have like one arm under the pillow and one up next to my face. And something about that position, I think, sometimes affected my blood flow. Because now as an adult, I'll do that. And even if I'm not fully asleep, I'll notice that like one of my arms will start to get the pins and needles. And I dated a girl who apparently, depending on where your collarbone is and your arteries, you can put pressure on the artery so that it slows down the blood flow. And I guess medically, she's got a really bad case of it or something like that. So I'm guessing that was what was happening with my sleep paralysis. But I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Oh, but it can, yeah, because when I first started getting it, because I had it over a few years, so when I first started getting it, I almost only got it if I slept during the day. And I also think that has to do with the kind of, I'm not in a deep sleep, because then it occurs more easily. And the same with the one with my friend, I was sleeping during the day.
It was the same with me. It was always, I don't want to say during, you could say it was during the daytime. It was, the sun was up and the room was nice and bright. And it was time that I should have been up.
Yeah.
So other than the sleep paralysis, any scary dreams?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, but nothing reoccurring, just more, I have a lot of, vivid dreams and nightmares, and someone's always out to get me and trying to kill me, and just very vivid.
Do you ever have any lucid dreams?
They're always half lucid. It sucks because it's like ooh, I'm finally like, I know I'm in a dream, and then I'll try and do something, and it'll like stop me or like slow me down. If I want to like fly, it's very hard for me to run to get the just
Momentum.
the power to fly. Yeah, the momentum to fly. Or if I'm running and if I'm in one of these dreams where someone's chasing me and I know that it's a dream, I'll try and run, but it'll make me very slow. So it's kind of like I know I'm in a dream, but it won't let me really do what I want to do.
Yeah, like your subconscious is like, all right, I know you get it, but still no.
And it's the same with, weirdly enough, with like sex dreams, like where I'll know, like, oh, I can do whatever I want, but it won't let me. It'll get me like halfway there, but it'll like, it'll just make it very strange instead of making it something that I want it to be. It's just very annoying.
Yeah, you get to imagine, the hottest actor or actress you've ever, wanted, but you can't have it. No, I don't think so.
I can have it, but not in the way I want it. Like it'll be like I still have the wet dream, but it's like it's not as good as it could be.
You get to have sex with this A-list actress, but you have to wear swim flippers and those punching Hulk gloves on your hands. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, just something like really weird, or it'd just be like, oh, it just went too quick, or oh, it just went, just something that will just mess it up just a little bit.
It sounds like your brain likes to put you in situations that.
Yeah, brains are funny like that.
Yeah.
Everyone's does. Yeah. I was going to say my takeaway from this is the subconscious is an asshole.
Yeah.
Well, from its perspective, it's saying, "Well, I'm preparing you."
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, preparing you for the world.
Yeah.
The world does that.
Yeah.
We get enough of that. Fucking that's what dreams are for. They're to escape the unfairness of the world.
Depends on what kind of dream you're having, because there's more than one.
Yeah.
There's the what are you going to do in this situation prepared dream, and then there's the fantasy of where it is literally just a fantasy.
Then there's the fucked up ones where like spoons are flying around and
that reminds me. I wanted to ask you.
Shoes are growing through trees.
That is a weird one.
Yeah.
That reminds me. I did want to ask you. You mentioned during the sleep paralysis stuff. You said you had the shadow near the door, and then you said she, or whatever, would come spoon with you in the worst way possible. And I'm thinking to myself, what is the worst way possible to spoon?
Well, I mean, I love to
Joe
spoon.
Biden style.
But
you can hear in her voice.
I wasn't ready for that.
I mean, yeah, like that kind of spooning is what comes to mind when you say the worst way possible, like heavy breathing in the ear.
But like,
hi.
It wasn't even breathing. I could still feel like, just the disgusting, I don't know, just the fact that you knew that it was kind of evil. You don't want something evil, because it would spoon me, and I was like, oh shit, is it gonna rape me? Is it gonna kill me?
It's gonna pet
is
you.
It gonna pet me? Just be disgusting, What is it gonna do? Because I didn't know. Like, if you're spooning with someone, you usually like, no, okay, it's just a cuddle, or they try and do something more, or you just sleeping. There's a few ways it could go usually.
Right. But you know what they are.
But what are your plans for November 2020?
But this one was just like, and the fact that it had never moved before, the fact that it always stood and looked at me, and that this was the first time it moved, and like. It laid with me, like just,
Yeah.
Your brain's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I could at least hold my hand.
Can we go to dinner first? Right?
Didn't even bring me flowers.
Yeah, I know, right?
Nope.
It's like, come on.
Oh, that's what we're doing with this now?
I'm sorry, I've just been hanging out in that corner of the room for so long, and you're so hot.
You're just laying there.
Sorry.
You look like you needed some company.
Yeah.
We can make a movie about this.
Or a lot of my dreams I could make a movie out of, but I need to write them down more often than I do. I forget them.
Yeah. Do you do like the pad next to the bed thing?
Yeah. I had a period of time where I used to write it down as soon as I woke up. But sometimes when I do that, my handwriting is so bad that I can't read it because I'm kind of half asleep while writing it. It's like
that does happen.
Kind of like a serial killer, letter where words are just everywhere. You just have to like patch them together.
Yeah, you go to decipher it later on. You're just looking at it like, what the fuck was I talking?
It's in like Elvish or something because you can't. But I haven't done it in a while. But I've been thinking because one of my friends lives with us, and I've been talking to her about my dreams, and she's like, "Oh, you should write them down." It's like, yeah, I should, but I always forget. I might start doing that again.
So, looking back over the adult years, to summarize, adult horror has also made you happy. But particularly things that make you uncomfortable or disgusting. For some reason that excites you. So now looking back over your entire life, and not just talking about horror, but in general, is there a movie that you would say you have watched more times than any other?
I would say Grotesque or Dude, Where's My Car?
That's a stretch.
But both of them are my like go-to drinking game films. And when I lived in Japan, I lived with one of my friends who's British and a heavy drinker, and we would just there was a period where we watched Good Dude, Where's My Car 5 times in 1 week, and just did the drinking game.
I'm curious,
did you drink? Yeah.
Dude, sweet, just every time they, smoke weed or, just Zoltan, every time they say Zoltan.
Oh, I forgot about Zoltan.
Yeah. So it's
Zoltan. I was going to say, do you have to make the arm motion before you drink?
Yeah, it would be good. We did though. We were responsible. We took away any like shot things. We would just, drink.
I was going to say, depending on what it is in that movie, you'd get drunk really fucking fast if you did them with shots, yeah.
Yeah, so we do it with just beer. Regular drinks.
Or sips.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not a full can.
Okay, so now looking back over your entire life, including horror, do you see any common threads about what kinds of horror that you like in terms of cannibalism, occult, metaphysical, body horror, etc.?
I would say that gore and the occult are probably one of my favorites, but I also like the sort of Japanese splatter, weirdness that's, just batshit insane sort of things, like Machine Girl and Tokyo Gore Police and stuff like that. That's just very strange.
Was it Meatball something?
Yeah.
Meatball
Machine as well, yeah. A lot of blood or a lot of occultism, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Extreme gore / occult.
Yeah. I
would say.
And any idea why it is that you like those things? I think you've already answered in terms of the gore. You were saying, shit, I lost the word I was going to say.
The desensitization?
That's a tough one.
Yeah. That I'm desensitized. Maybe.
Well, and because you're trying to overcome that, you mean?
Yeah. For the occult, I think it's just the fact that I've been interested in the occult since I was younger. So it's kind of stuck with me, and just the unknown and the not the fascination, but the sort of yearning that I wish that occultism and magic and stuff like that would be real. Sort of, I wonder what that type of world would be like.
And quickly developing a reputation for the guy who just name drops movies left and right and these things. But that just reminds me, have you seen A Dark Song? Came out last year, maybe 2018.
No.
It's good. It's got a good understanding or aspect of the occult. It's got a heavy necromancy vibe, but not really necromancy. It's more.
No, I don't think I've seen it. No, yeah.
It's interesting. It involves incantations and protective circles and several day-long fasting and very intense rituals. It's interesting. More of a summoning movie, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I'll put that on the list. Yeah, but a lot of like Starry Eyes and sort of
love Starry
Penumbra. I think it's the Latin American film, and just in general, like The Witch, just things that are sort of, magical and dark.
Plus, that's that almost forbidden, yet at the same time inviting
Yeah.
occult feel to all those films. Yeah, where you have that cult
Yeah.
that is, secluded, but at the same time, they have to abduct people somehow. So
Yeah.
they're secluded and forbidden, but at the same time, maybe, hey, if this is your thing, come on in.
Welcome
All
with
you have
open
to do
arms.
is, swallow some horrible stuff from an evil satanic director. Spoilers.
You've said that you're looking for stuff that evokes strong emotions, that you're passionate about your emotions. That could be, you could find that in, like, for example, the one that's coming to mind is crap. What was the one with Sylvester Stallone and the mountain climbing cliffhanger?
Cliffhanger,
like action movies could have strong emotions too. It doesn't necessarily have to be derived from the gore. So, is there something about horror or gore in particular that attracts you more than, say, these action movies, or something else that might trigger strong emotions?
Yeah, I think, I mean, the adrenaline, I guess you could find in some like thriller films as well. But I think it's the extremism and the fact that a lot of horror, not a lot, but I think a lot of films in horror make you feel bad or try to make you feel bad. And for some reason, I really, like, if I had to pick one type of film that I could watch for the rest of my life, it would be films that could make me feel bad.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like it's the stronger emotion. Because,
well, I guess,
like, I love a film that makes me cry. Like, I love a film that makes me cry. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do love like comedy films in general. I love comedy films. There's just something about a film. It stays with you longer, I think, if it's a film that makes you feel bad, and
It's
it's more
like,
of an impact.
yeah, it's similar to like being desensitized with extreme gore, or just being desensitized with all kinds of films in general. The more emotionally jarring, the more effective it is when you're that much more calloused or desensitized to just everything. After you watch a lot of films,
Yeah.
you start to get used to the things that happen.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, a minute ago you were talking about feeling bad. What do you mean by feeling bad?
Like a
Sadness?
sadness, or like just a film that's so it's very hard to explain. Sadness as well, but I think more like like if you've watched the Don't Fuck with Cats documentary, just the feeling of you're not even seeing the whole film, the whole videos that when him killing the cats, but just knowing that it just makes you feel terrible. Like, how could a person, ever do something that
Horrible.
disturbing or horrible? And it sticks with you. Like, I'll never forget that documentary. Never. The same way, like, if a film really makes me feel bad, like Trauma, where they do all these depraving things, it just stays with me. And it's not that I enjoy watching people in pain. It's more that I enjoy the feeling that a film can make me feel this much.
Yeah, like that feeling from the film is that much more effective because it's more shocking and powerful, really.
Yeah, and it's not the fact that I feel more like than usual. It's more the fact that I respect the fact that a filmmaker can create something that's not real and just to make it so powerful in a way.
Yeah, I mean, in a very simplified form of it, it's kind of like not to sound misogynistic at all, but chick flicks, like emotionally driven movies that
I
that
hate
are
them.
generally well, yeah, but they people who are fans of them probably watch them for the same reason because it makes them feel sad, and that extreme emotion of feeling sad or feeling sadness is just that much more effective than milder forms of emotion that films make you feel.
Yeah.
films that make you feel bad really cut deep because you're like, oh, that's terrible and awful.
Well, that kind of points to a good question.
Yeah.
Why don't you like those kinds of films?
Because they're not realistic.
I'm asking her, not you.
I just think that they're very predictable. It's just the same fucking film over and over again with different people in it. Of course, I'm not going to say that all chick flicks are bad. There are a few, probably, that are good. Can't think of any right now. Wedding Crashers, is that a chick flick? Not Wedding Crashers. What's the one with Brittany Murphy and Ashton Kutcher?
No idea.
Where they get married and they hate each other. I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name.
I can't remember, but and Clueless. I like Clueless. That's a chick flick. There are a few that I enjoy, but I don't go looking for those films. It's more like if my sister wants to watch a film because she's a bit of a chick flick kind of girl, then I. But this is also the thing. I've always been a bit of a boy. not a boy per se, but like when I was young, I liked games, and nowadays games are cool, but when I was a kid it wasn't cool, and girls, there weren't that many that I knew of back then. It was only guys, so I got along with guys more. And it's the same thing now, like when I've become a mother, it's very hard to me to connect with other parents because what do I like? I like horror. I like, animated, anime, and I collect figures and I like games, and there's not a lot of women with children who enjoy this type of thing. So I generally connect better with men.
I'm sure that your kid loves you.
Well, yeah, she's only 3, but it's really cute seeing her playing with I was
gonna say, playing with your dolls with you?
My pop figures. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She have like a little baby Freddy, and she calls it Baby Freddy, and she has no, of course I don't show her any of these films, but I have them around, so she knows like the names of them, but I hope when she gets older she'll appreciate that she has a nerdy mom and dad.
Is there some drive, looking back over your life, you've mentioned the occult and stuff the whole way through. Is there some drive to be different, or just that you feel different?
I would say feel different, but I also think that's grown with age. I don't know why, but I feel more awkward now than I did when I was a teen. So, but I think that does have to do a little bit with my interests, that my interests are considered childish. So I don't consider myself an adult in a way. So when I meet other adults, I'm like, oh, hey, I have no idea what to talk about because you like makeup and fashion, and all I wear is black, and I don't do makeup because it's fucking boring, sort of inexpensive. I mean, I'll put on, some mascara, but I don't do any like super makeup. When people talk about like different words like highlighting and concealers and stuff, I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Like, so, so I just think I think I put myself in that position a lot where I'm like, oh, I'm weird, so I can't. This person won't like me. Sort of. I think I put myself in that box, so I make myself more awkward in a way.
Okay, but it seems like that was something that started early on for you, that you felt different.
It probably has to do a little bit with because I was raised with my mom, who is Swedish, blonde. Okay. She married another American who was blonde, had a kid. That's my sister, who's also blonde. So I was the little Latino girl with the white blonde family. So I think that just because of that, I always felt a little bit outside because people didn't think I was, I think people thought I was adopted or things like that, even though I look a lot like my mom, but I'm just darker.
That makes sense. That could be something that, like we're saying, could go all the way back to childhood to make someone feel different, to say, I don't feel like I look very much like any of my family. It sounds like some of the common threads here were that, you like things that make you feel strong emotions, And you mentioned that for whatever reason, feeling bad seems to stay with you longer. And as far as the occult stuff, that maybe there was some, desire that wishing that this kind of stuff could be real, which is fairly normal. I think there's a lot of people that are interested in not only the occult, but mythology and stuff like that. I've also liked mythology. Chris can tell you about that.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that you mentioned here towards the end about being a dark-haired Latina in a family full of blonde people can definitely make one feel a bit, like what's going on here. And so it sounds like there's some good reasons for you to feel like, being drawn towards some of the and I forgot the very first thing you said, being born on Halloween.
That has a hand in it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good reasons for you to be drawn to the kinds of things that have to do with Halloween. It's definitely interesting. I think, particularly obviously being dark-haired in a blonde-haired family and being born on Halloween are definitely things that have not come up in the podcast before. I don't know if they'll come up again. Those are some unique qualities.
But being different in a family can be. It doesn't have to be appearance-wise. It could always be,
True.
Everyone everyone loves sports except me. Sort of interest-wise as well, or another type of.
Yeah, there is. I've done some reading on family dynamics. I don't know if you've ever read about this or heard about it, but in therapy terms and counseling terms, there are what are known as family roles, and people tend to take on certain roles that there's sort of some people that hold that it's sort of a theory that there are these certain roles and they all must be filled. So some people will take on multiple roles if there aren't enough people in the family to do so, but some of the roles could be the Joker, the black sheep, the student, the teacher's pet.
The hero is one of them too, isn't it?
Maybe, but I think that might be a subset or along with the teacher's pet, because the teacher's pet's the one that does all the good things.
Sure.
So there are definitely other ways that people can take on those roles. For you, possibly the dark hair and a light-haired family thing could have been a trigger for that, but like you say, there could be other things that could cause other people to jump into that. And there's another one that's similar to the black sheep, but I don't know. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
The Black Phillip.
Yeah, that's me.
Right. Or Philippa in this case. I mean, it's interesting. And like we said at the start of the call, part of the reason that we're doing this is to find out what it is that people like about horror. And, if we come up with some common things, that's cool too. If we find uncommon things, that's cool too. And I think you're I think you might be the 13th interview.
Yeah, how about that?
Ding, ding, ding.
We should have been planning for that.
Yeah, we should have. You don't have triskaidekaphobia, do you?
Is that a fear of 13s?
Yes.
Context clues.
Who doesn't know what that is?
I didn't until you said it, I guessed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you for being here.
And thank you to anybody out there listening. Again, please do come visit us at horrormakesushappy.com. We'll have a schedule posted there to show who we're interviewing and what episodes we're releasing, as well as a list of the people we'd like to interview. So if you know any of those people on that list or would like to add somebody to the list, please let us know. You can also become a Patreon supporter, link to our social media. In general, just let us know how we're doing. horrormakesushappy.com.